He's Crassus and I'm Tyler. After Death Battle's horrid take on Obito versus Darth Vader, me and Crisis have decided to come together and give the most accurate representation of what would go down if these two were to throw hands.
Hey everyone, Crisis here.
Not only should you go over to Crisis's channel and check him out, but go look at the most recent livestream we did where he and I both debunked the Death Battle. You see, Death Battle insists that Legends and canon Star Wars are equal, which is just blatantly false. They're two different continuities. It's like comparing Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super at that point. So for the sake of the video, we'll just be sticking with Star Wars Legends as they have and continue to lean on it for their scaling. Now, since Screw Attack discussed Vader's power first, I'll be first starting off with discussing Obito's scaling. I like to first start off with his abilities as that's what he's notorious for. As we know, Obito Uchiha is, well, an Uchiha, and the Uchiha are known for their Sharingan. The Sharingan allows the user to not only predict and imitate your opponent's attacks, but it's notorious for its ability to break and cast illusions, or also known as Genjutsu. There's also higher levels of ocular jutsu like the Mangekyo and Rinnegan, which are evolved versions of the Sharingan, which, by the way, Obito has access to both. The Mangekyo not only just makes your Sharingan stronger, but every user has a unique ability with it, and Obito's ability allows him to teleport anything into his little pocket dimension, or also known as Kamui. He teleports parts of himself in said dimension, which is why he seemingly can't be touched and can do this for a whole 5 minutes, which he could then just immediately do it again the moment the effects wear off, which is damn near invincibility for Obito. Meanwhile, the Rinnegan allows him to steal souls, instantly come back from any type of damage, summon animals, and manipulate gravity. He's also capable of controlling the 7 Biju, and even before that, as a child, was capable of controlling the 9 Tails, which, by the way, naturally Genjutsu doesn't even work on Jinchuriki because the Biju themselves just snap them out of it, and Obito should very much well be capable of doing this. He has regeneration thanks to Hashirama cells along with 5 basic chakra natures, a big ass fan, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Obito. But as we all know, it gets even crazier as Obito would then turn into Jubito, which happens due to him absorbing the 10 Tails, giving him 6 path abilities. This allows him to use truth-seeking orbs, which destroy things on a molecular and spiritual level, and can make a big ass sword made of this material. And now, absorbing the 10 Tails, he should have access to things like lava, magnet, acid, and steam release thanks to absorbing the previous Biju.
Alright, we get it, Tyler, but how hard can he hit, and how hard can he get hit?
Pinpointing where Obito's AP/durability is at is a little tricky simply due to the fact that there are so many versions of the character. I think a good starting point is seeing Obito in his fight with Minato, who had Minato so wary that he told Naruto while he's being trapped in a continental mini black hole that this pain guy is not him and he needs to really worry about the dude in the mask, or Obito. This tier of power is pretty consistent for Obito, as we have things like half of Kurama being able to turn the world into ash, who Obito during the war isn't really having a hard time against even when Naruto is utilizing Kurama's fullest abilities. Obito also survived the Flying Raijin level 2 Wombo combo, which a younger Minato with his Rasengan was recently shown to briefly clash with a Biju blast from the full 9 Tails, which is really weird to think about. Minato at the age of the average sophomore is contending with a planet wiping furry. Then when we discuss Jubito, his scaling gets even crazier. Jubito sauced on both halves of the 9 Tails along with negging Hashirama, who by himself, by the way, was able to beat up and release all 9 Biju. For supplementary evidence, it's said that the sheer amount of chakra that the 10 Tails had was compared to that of a small planet, which Obito proceeds to absorb. And no, the 10 Tails is not universal, let's not be losers. I don't want to see any goober posting or mentioning that near infinite statement. It's clear that it's just a very big chakra pool similar to Naruto's, like how Naruto's like, oh my god, he almost has a near infinite amount of chakra. Think of it as like a maxed out stamina bar from Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Anyway, let's now talk about his combat/reaction speed. Now, when regarding speed, Obito is hands down one of the fastest characters in the verse and would need to be if he wants his ability to be any useful. Even as a kid, he's able to catch Minato lacking with his chains, and years later react to both Onoki and the Raikage, 2 characters who should be light speed. The Raikage himself has a statement of moving at the speed of light, which KCM Naruto proceeds to speed blitz, and then we see Mu reacting to the same Naruto, but then Onoki clashes with Mu, meaning he should have relative speed to that of KCM Naruto, which makes sense as even a child Obito had Minato pretty much sweating. And by the time Naruto fully befriended Kurama and is harnessing into his full power, Kakashi is like, oh my god, yo, is that Minato? Seriously though, Obito even as a kid should easily be reaching light speed, and we know even as little as a one-tailed cloak amp from Naruto was comparable to that of a Curse Mark Stage 2 amp, which is said to increase your power 10 times over from both Jirobo and Kiba. Naruto is able to harness all of Kurama's power against Obito, and yet Obito is still reacting to him, absorbs the 10 tails, and then becomes many times faster. Obito, even before the age of 18, should easily be FTL plus, with Jubito easily reaching those MFTL plus ranges of speed. However, it should be noted that Jubito is weaker than Jubidara, 6 Paths Naruto, 6 Paths Sasuke, and Momoshiki, so if anyone is going to bring up those calcs, it's really not fair as Jubito does not scale to that.
Now it's time for Crisis to take over.
So, Vader has multiple statements of being a master of the dark side, even to its deepest depths. Sidious also genuinely considered him a master Sith Lord. So it should be fair to grant him most powers, such as those detailed in the Book of the Sith, which is essentially a dark side training manual that we know Vader has read, plus various RPG source books detailing Vader's abilities, in addition to those he's shown in more obscure sources like the novels and comics. I think it's pretty clear to see that Death Battle made an odd choice only granting Vader basic stuff, like Force Choke and Barriers. He can peer into someone's mind for their fears and weaknesses, fire his own unique variant of Force Lightning, project the concept of infinity into the minds of his opponents, passively inspire fear through the Force, empower himself off feelings of hate and rage in his enemies mid-fight. He can just cause things to explode through the Force, and outright vaporize people wholesale. Not to mention, again, other Sith abilities that Vader would logically be able to possess, like conjuring illusions and monstrous thralls, mind control, and on and on. This one is also pretty easy, as ancient Sith lords using amulets were able to set off supernovas, which could engulf multiple planets, with later Darksiders being stated even stronger, until the rule of two creates more powerful Sith lords, until Sidious and Vader. This is pretty much the baseline, with weaker entities in the universe being capable of cracking moons, or Vader himself seeing the dwarf star level Death Star as beneath him. Vader, by his peak around the time of Return of the Jedi, would have access to insane and godlike levels of strength, however, with a weakened Palpatine still recovering from his death over Endor, managing to master and control the energies of hyperspace, with his own rage empowering it by the time of Dark Empire. Again, Sidious was weaker than he was in Return of the Jedi, when he could manipulate these higher dimensional energies, with a fatigued Vader withstanding this healthier Sidious's full power long enough to kill him, with Palpatine attributing this to his apprentice's actual power level. Not to mention that Vader is consistently either compared to, or just outright called stronger than Dark Empire Luke, who could contend with the strongest forms of Palpatine in his youthful clone body. For speed, this was Death Battle's strangest omission, as blaster bolts are called lasers or light-based over and over again in Legends, with Vader stated to deflect them from all sides. Even Obi-Wan and Mace Windu in the Clone Wars would outright react to lasers. On top of that, Anakin, Vader, Kylo Ren in canon, even Han Solo could all react to objects moving in hyperspace, which is literally used as a method of massively faster than light travel across the galaxy. This is just a casual thing in both the Legends and canon universe. Even at the formation of the galaxy, normal people had to chart hyperspace lanes with no force abilities to establish trade routes from planet to planet. This kind of stuff is just baked into the lore at its foundation.
Now, already looking at the stats, it's not looking very good for Obito, ladies and gentlemen. His main ability, that being Kamui, wouldn't really work as he doesn't phase all parts of his body, meaning Vader could theoretically just pull the parts that aren't phased with force powers or just immediately crush his internal organs, since he should be fast enough to do this before Obito even subconsciously activates Kamui. Vader has legit just vaporized random stormtroopers before, so I don't see why he wouldn't do that to Obito immediately.
Vader as well should just have better skill, seeing as he scales to masters of all fighting styles in the galaxy, as well as having perfected all saber forms compared to the handful of fighting styles in Naruto, and precognition along with stronger mind hacks, more than likely overwhelming Obito and incapacitating him. The best feat for Obito's mind hacks is suppressing the Nine Tails, and he could seemingly use infinite Tsukuyomi, but he's never actually done it in character. Some no-name same Sith is capable of projecting infinity into one's brain, as seen in the Book of the Sith, and this isn't even considering the upscaling of the verse, which Vader stands towards the top of. Truth-seeking orbs might not work either, as the Force is able to work on a spiritual level and is on another dimensional tier of power, being able to affect hyperspace, which is above the third and fourth dimension. So I don't think this is a fair fight, honestly.
He's not only faster and arguably infinitely more powerful than Obito in his strongest form, but any of Obito's abilities pretty much would either get outclassed by Vader or straight up wouldn't work on him. It's crazy how the current crippled guy beats the recovered one. Goodbye!